Hello. Today I want to talk about an idea that I've seen a lot on the internet, that the historic lifestyle, the lifestyle of the hunter-gatherer, the Indian lifestyle, was a life of constant toil and hardship. I want to sort of debunk that idea a little bit. Brought with me my statistics here. So let's imagine that we got a family of, let's say, 6 people. Just for convenience sake, let's say that they're all adults. Okay? Now let's also say that they are only eating meat. The only thing that they can consume is venison, right? So no tubers, no berries, no rabbits, no fish, nothing like that. The only thing they can eat is venison. Okay? Now, in a pound of meat, there's about 1,000 calories or so. Human requires between 2,000 and 4,000 calories a day, depending on how active they are and depending on how cold it is. People up north require more calories than people down south. So every human requires between 2 and 4 pounds of meat a day to stay healthy. Okay? If you butcher a deer skillfully and carefully, you're going to get a little under half of the deer's weight back in terms of lean meat. So that adds up to between 45 and 90 pounds of meat, depending on the size and the health of the deer. Average of, let's say, 65, 60 something. Now, realistically, you're not just going to be eating the lean meat, you're also going to be eating the fat and the organs and the bones to some extent. But we're cutting those out because I don't have statistics for that. Right? I just have the statistics that the hunters put up. The modern hunters who don't want anything, they don't want to cart anything out of the woods that they're... Modern hunters are lazy, aren't they? I've seen the carcasses. They leave so much on there for the coyotes. Anyway, this family of 6 that I posited, they're going to need between 12 and 24 pounds of meat every day. Okay? So, assuming that they're all eating as much as they possibly could, right, they're all requiring 4,000 calories a day, and assuming that we got the smallest deer possible, that's only going to last them 2 days. Right? If it's the biggest deer possible, 4 days, let's say. However, if they are eating the minimum that they require, right, 2,000 calories a day, that small deer is going to last them 4 days or so. Right? Whereas that big deer is going to last them over a week. Okay? Right? Now, 1 deer a week, that's not infeasible. If I applied myself, right, back in the day, I could probably catch a deer a week without too much difficulty. Right, considering that back in the day there were more deer than people in the region. Back in the day there was like 1 million deer in the Ontario region, whereas there were like 100,000 people. So it would be a lot easier back then. Now 1 deer a week is not unfeasible for a single hunter. But if you got 6 people who are all contributing in some way, that burden becomes a heck of a lot less. Right? 6 people could catch a deer a week, even in the modern day, I figure. Right? It's not such an unfeasible thing. Once you catch the deer, you can just sit around. You don't need to do much, right? Because you got 90 pounds of meat to eat up. Now, if you add other things into the equation, things become a heck of a lot easier. If you think that in between each one of these deer, you're going to be catching other things like rabbits and turkeys, right? Little things that are easier to find. Right? You're going to be fishing. Right? Your wife is going to be out picking berries and roots. Right? You got your garden. There are a lot more sources of food in the world besides just deer. Again, everybody in your group is going to be working towards that food in some way. Right? You're going to be out hunting, but the women, they're going to be picking vegetables. Right? They're going to be tending the garden. Right? Your kids, they might be out fishing. They might be out hunting squirrels and rabbits. That was how the little ones learned how to use a bow. You give them a puny little bow, like I've already talked about, and you send them out to hunt whatever they can. So, before I was so rudely interrupted, I was talking about how there's a heck of a lot more things to eat out there besides just deer. There's a heck of a lot of other food sources. You got your apple trees, you got your nut trees. Just a week or so ago, I picked like 5-10 pounds of hickory nuts. That's a lot of food there. But another food source is animals that are bigger than deer, right? moose used to live down here, and buffalo used to live not too far from here. So if you catch a moose or a buffalo, that's like 500 pounds or more of meat. All right, now, if you got 500 pounds of meat, well, that could sustain that theoretical 6-person family for 20 days at minimum and 40 days at most, right? That's a lot of food. So, in conclusion, life in the past wasn't a constant struggle, right? You would have a lot of downtime, right? You catch your deer, and then you can sit around and work on your handicraft or whatever, right? Then the meat starts getting low, so you go out and hunt again, right? It would be a cycle, right? It wouldn't be a constant life on the very edge. It would be a cycle, right? This week I'm prosperous. This week things are a little bit strained, right? And so on, so on. Anyway, that's all I have to say on this subject. So, bye-bye.